The rain was coming down hard enough that night to blur the lines between the road and the sidewalk, the kind of rain that makes everything feel heavier than it really is. I remember the sound first, a sharp slap against the hood of my car. Not a knock. A warning. Deliveries go around back. You need to turn around, now. I looked up through the windshield water streaking down the glass and saw the guard standing there with his jacket half-open, badge pushed forward like it was a weapon. His hand stayed planted on my hood, firm, territorial, like I'd crossed some invisible line. I lowered my window slowly, not because I was scared, but because I was tired. Bone tired. 14 hours in the air, a connection. To lay my shoulders stiff from a suit I'd been wearing since another time zone. "I'm not a delivery," I said calmly. "I live here." That earned me a laugh. Short, sharp, the kind people use when they've already decided who you are. "Sure you do," he said, shining his flashlight straight into my face. "You people always say that." That phrase, "you people," landed heavier than the rain. I took a breath, steady, controlled. I'd learned a long time ago that reacting fast only gives people what they want. "My name's Marcus Reed," I said. "I just bought the place at the end of the hill. I'm heading home." He didn't even pretend to check anything. Didn't ask for ID. Didn't look at a screen. He just leaned closer, eyes scanning me like I was a bad investment. "Listen," he said, tapping the hood again. "This is a private community. You don't just drive in because you feel like it. Turn around." Behind me, headlights appeared. A white SUV rolled up clean, confident. Before I could say another word, the guard waved them through with a smile I hadn't seen once in my direction. "Evening, folks. Welcome back." The gate slid open. I watched it happen. The contrast was so clean it almost felt scripted. I could have raised my voice then. Could have argued. Could have forced the issue. But something in me went quiet instead. That old familiar quiet. The one that shows up when you realize this isn't confusion, it's judgment. "I own that house," I said one more time, softer now. "You can check." He stepped back, unimpressed. "Turn around," he repeated, "or park outside and come back during office hours." I reversed slowly, water pooling under my tires, the gate closing in my rearview mirror. As I pulled onto the street, the rain felt colder, not because of the weather, because of what had just happened. That house was less than half a mile away, lights on, waiting, and I couldn't get to it. I parked and just sat there for a moment, hands resting on the steering wheel, listening to the rain drum against the roof. I wasn't angry yet. I was thinking. I've spent most of my life being underestimated. It starts early when you grow up in neighborhoods where expectations are low and exits are few. You learn how to read rooms. You learn when to speak and when silence carries more weight. That night, silence felt like the right move. I stepped out of the car and walked back toward the gate. The rain soaked through my jacket almost instantly, darkening the fabric, clinging to my skin. By the time I reached the booth again, I was drenched. "Back already," the guard said, smirking. "Told you to come back later." "I need to make a call," I said. "My phone's dying. Let me use yours." He glanced at his supervisor, who'd stepped out of the booth, now dry and annoyed. "We don't let unauthorized individuals inside," the supervisor said. "Policy." "Then make the call for me," I replied. "Please." They made me wait. 15 minutes, standing in the rain like a problem they couldn't be bothered to solve. Cars passed. Some slowed down. Some stared. Some looked away. Eventually, they let me step just inside the booth. No chair, no towel, just enough shelter to say they'd done me a favor. The supervisor dialed a number, waited 2 seconds, then hung up. "No answer," he said. "Try Monday." "That phone didn't ring," I said quietly. His jaw tightened. "We're done here." He slid a paper across the counter, some form meant to document that I'd been denied access. I skimmed it. There was a clause buried in the middle, waiving my right to file a complaint. "I won't be signing that," I said. The guard laughed again. "Then we'll report this as trespassing." I looked at him, really looked at him, and nodded once. "Okay," I said. "That's your choice." I walked back to my car slowly, not defeated, decided. I sat down, closed the door, and checked my phone. 2% battery, just enough. I made one call. "Hey," I said when she answered, "I need you to activate the oversight protocol. Now." There was a pause on the other end. "Tonight?" "Yes." The phone died before she could ask another question. I leaned back and stared through the windshield as the rain finally started to ease. They thought the gate was the end of the story. They had no idea it was the beginning. An hour later, the atmosphere changed. I didn't go back to the gate right away. I waited. Let the system move. Let the people who understood gravity step into the room. When I returned, the guard's posture was different. The supervisor wouldn't meet my eyes. Two people in suits stood beside the booth, rain-speckled but sharp. "Mr. Reed," one of them said, stepping forward, "we'd like to speak with you." I followed them inside the house, my house, for the first time that night. Warm lights, high ceilings, silence that felt earned. They gathered everyone in the conference room, every guard, every supervisor. No one sat. I took my place at the head of the table. Not because I needed to, because it was mine. "I want to be very clear," I said, my voice calm, steady. "This isn't about embarrassment. This isn't about revenge." The guard who'd laughed earlier stared at the floor. "This is about judgment," I continued. "About who gets believed. About who gets waved through without a question and who has to prove they belong." I didn't raise my voice. I didn't insult anyone. I didn't need to. 2 names were let go that night. Immediately. Others were told they'd be reviewed. One young guard, the only one who'd looked uncomfortable the entire time, was thanked for trying to speak up. When it was over, I stood, straightened my jacket, and walked out. The rain had stopped completely. The air felt clean, like the city had exhaled. I stood at the front door of my house for a moment before going in. Not because I needed permission, but because I wanted to remember the feeling. Not power. Clarity. Because here's the truth. Money doesn't change who people are. It just changes how honest they feel allowed to be. Some people show respect only when they think it's required. Others show you exactly who they've been all along. I finally went inside, closed the door behind me, and let the quiet settle. And I still think about that night. Not because I won, but because I know how many people don't get the chance to. So let me ask you something, be honest. Do you think situations like this are really about security, or about who society decides deserves the benefit of the doubt?